I just have to watch people come in. All right, today we're going to talk about microbiology, and this is really important for state boards. Okay, so you really want to know this section. It's all about the things that we have to worry about with causing disease, especially in this COVID era. All right, so micro, small, bio, living, ology, study. So it's the study of small living things, microbiology. Okay, and this is how, once we know what we're up against, then we know how to take care of it. That's infection control. We're going to do that the next time. And then we can keep from getting, spreading any diseases or anything in the salon. Okay, bacteria. One-celled microorganisms, again, very small. Whoops. And you've got non-pathogenic and pathogenic, okay? So if this was the world, okay, 2/3 of it would be non-pathogenic. That means that it's good, or it's not going to harm you, or it's actually going to be good for you. So most of the bacteria in the world is non-pathogenic. There's only 1/3 that's pathogenic. Okay, so if you can't remember which is which, so if you think of a pathologist is someone that studies disease, maybe to see what killed somebody. Okay, so pathogenic, that's bad bacteria, non-pathogenic.
Is the tripod supposed to like turn off?
It does, yeah. Yep, thank you. It definitely does that. Okay. Non-pathogenic, does not produce disease, can be very beneficial. Okay, so this is a very simplified, trust me, I'm not a scientist, but if we didn't have bacteria, say out in the woods, and you know where we live, we've got deer and we've got squirrels and we've got rabbits and we've got all that stuff in the woods. Every time something died, you'd have all these dead carcasses everywhere. Of course, there would be scavengers that would eat, but we also need the bacteria to break it down so that it's consumed. Okay, 70% are non-pathogenic. Many live on the surface of the skin. We have all kinds of bacteria on our skin. We're going to be talking about an example of one that if it lives on our skin all the time, it's there right now, it's fine. But if I go in and have an operation and they cut me open and that bacteria get inside, then I can have a problem. I can get an infection, okay? Okay, pathogenic. Cause infection and disease. Some produce poison. They live everywhere, spread easily, and have 3 basic shapes. Okay, a disease that spreads from one person to another via contact is referred to as contagious or communicable. You will see this word here on the test. Just think of it as another name for contagious, communicable. Okay, 3 basic shapes. Okay, so you've got the Cockeye bacteria, the Bacilli, and the Spirilla. Okay, so let's get this out. Okay, the first one I want you to think of, Bacilli. This is the most common form. So that's going to be on the test. Which one of these is the most common form? Okay, it's rod-shaped. So if we spell the word out, we've got a whole bunch of rod-shaped letters in Bacilli. Okay? Spirilla is corkscrew-shaped. So we just think of that S. Shaped like an S or like a corkscrew. Okay, Spirilla. Okay, Spirilla causes syphilis, which is a sexually transmitted disease. Lyme disease, we all know what that is, right? Yeah. Get it from deer ticks. Okay, or cholera. Okay, then you get up to the Cockeye bacteria, and this is the one that we talk about the most because there's so much to talk about. But remember, Bacilli is the most common one. Okay, so Cockeye bacteria. So if I spell that, can you guys see that the shape is basically round? Mm-hmm. Okay, so just look at the word, and you've got these round-shaped bacteria. Okay, If we look at these though, it comes in different forms, okay? So you've got your Diplococci. Let's just start down there. So if I go out here to Schaefer's ice cream stand, or I go to the Rambler, okay, and I ask for a double dip ice cream cone, okay, it's gonna look something like that, yes? Okay, Diplococci is always in pairs like that. So just think of a double dip ice cream cone. Okay, it comes in pairs. Causes pneumonia. Okay, Streptococci, where do we get strep throat at?
Wait, where do we get it? In our throat?
In our throat? Right, I just gave you the answer. Okay, so we get strep in our throat, and these always come in chains. So just think of a necklace going around your throat, a chain, and that's where we get strep at. Okay, so just think of that chain going around there. Okay, strep throat. Then the last one, I leave it for last because I don't have a good hint for it, is Staphylococci. It looks like a bunch of grapes, okay? And it's found in boils and forms pus. Okay, so Spirilla, corkscrew, Bacilli, rod shape, most common. Cockeye is round. Diplococci is like a double dip, like a chain that goes around my throat, causes strep throat, and a grape-like bunch. Whoop, I think I want one more. Okay, growth of bacteria. Okay, reproduces and grows rapidly in the active stage. Okay, so let's talk about the active stage. What do bacteria like to grow? What temperature?
Warm?
Warm. Whoops, hang on. Let me get that again.
I like warm and wet places.
Warm. I'm going to call that damp.
Dark.
And clean or
Dirty.
dirty. Okay. Warm, dark, damp, and dirty. That's when it is growing and reproducing. So that's the active stage. When it has these things, that's why we have to clean. That's why we have to disinfect. Okay? And it says they're dark, damp, dirty areas with food. It absorbs food, grows and divides. You guys know it has a nucleus. It splits into two. These are called daughter cells. Okay? It's something like if you start with one bacterial cell, like this morning, by lunchtime you have like 16 million or something. That's how fast it goes. So that's why you have to be very, very conscious about cleaning and disinfecting. You can't just kind of slop around because you're going to have things growing that are going to be detrimental to your salon. Okay, the inactive stage. Okay. The opposite of this. What's the opposite of warm?
Cold.
Okay. Dark,
White.
damp,
Dry.
and dirty.
Clean.
Okay. Okay, an operating room. If you've ever had an operation, when you go in, it's freezing cold. I don't know how those poor people work in there. Bright lights. It's dry. It's clean. Okay, exact opposite conditions. They die or become inactive. Some form spores. So here's my bacteria, and it's on me, and they wheel me into the operating room. And if it's spore forming, it's going to grow a coat around itself. Just like right now, if it's cold, we go outside, we put on a coat to protect ourselves. The bacteria put on a coat called a spore, and that protects them. Then they come out, you get operated on, you come out of the operating room, and then, I don't know if I can do it now, it just sheds its coat. Okay, it takes it off, the coat goes by the wayside, and it starts growing and reproducing again. You can only destroy spores when they put that coat on by sterilization. Or sporicidal, something that'll kill spores. Remember, cidal means killer. Okay? Sterilization, so extreme heat or steam. Okay? So some are pretty tricky with that spore thing. Okay, Cockeye, the round-shaped bacteria travels via air or dust movement. So it's just, wherever they land. Okay? Bacilli and Spirilla use flagella or cilia. Okay? So if it is a short hair-like projection, it's cilia. If it's longer, it's flagella. And they whip that tail back and forth, and that's what propels them around to get from place to place. Okay? Cilia just means short hair. So these are cilia. That's a technical term for my eyelashes. These are supercilia. They're higher, they're big, they're higher than cilia, supercilia. We have cilia in our throat, in our nose, any short hairs.
You have hairs in your throat?
Mm-hmm. Yep, we have them all through our body. Yep. Then the flagella. The flagella, just think of the flag out there in the breeze going back and forth like this. Flagella. Just think of the flag. And when it goes back and forth in the wind, that's how the tail's going.
Miss G, you just made so many things make sense in my head.
That's good.
No, because like the back of my mouth will get itchy. I'm like, what's itchy back there? Huh,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
We have cilia. We have cilia like in our
Is
trachea.
that why, like, we like cough because something like tickles in the back of our throat?
I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a scientist, so I don't know all this stuff. I just know we have these little hair-like projections pretty much all through our body, like to help food go through our colon and stuff like that. So, all right, viruses. Okay. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. I wanted this one. Oh, okay. So here are my cells. There's their little nucleus. They're just floating around all happy and healthy. And then I get a bacterial infection. Okay? So here's my bacteria. Again, not a scientist. This is just how I think of it. Okay, my bacteria, can they go inside the cells?
Yes. No.
No, because look how big they are. Okay? So I go to the doctor and I say, I have XYZ. I have this infection. And the doctor says, oh, that's bacterial. We'll just give you an antibiotic. And they can kill that with an antibiotic because it's outside of the cells. Okay, so far?
Mm-hmm.
Then I get COVID. Have you heard of anybody going and getting an antibiotic for COVID?
Like a vaccination?
No, an antibiotic. No.
They didn't make one yet, did they?
They can't. It's just like the common cold. Did they ever give you an antibiotic when you have a common cold? Okay, anything that's a virus, is very small. See these little things here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they attach to the cell and they spew their contents into the cell. Like this.
Okay, but if it's that small, why is it so dangerous?
Because, well, let's use AIDS for an example, okay? That's the one I can kind of explain. So if I go to the doctor and they say I'm HIV positive, what they mean is that the virus is in my body, it's attached to my cells, and it's put its little contents in there. But when I get full-blown AIDS, what happens is it gets very active for whatever reason. And this gets so full that it blows open like that, and the little droplets come out.
So
and
it's
they,
like a balloon that pops.
yes, and then they hit all these other cells, and they attach.
Can't AIDS kill you?
Mm-hmm. And it gets more and more and more and more and more.
Can't you cure like HIV?
There's no cure, but they can keep it so under control that it's almost like you don't have it.
Okay.
They have medication for that, yeah. So just using that as an example. So here I am, I'm HIV positive, but now the virus started going crazy and it starts rupturing my cells and it's going to all my other cells.
Does it cause you pain?
No.
AIDS?
What AIDS does is it kills your immune system. So you never die from AIDS. You die from something else you got because you have no immune system to fight it off. Okay? It's a HIV, human, what is it? Immuno deficiency virus. It means it kills your immune system. So you might die from pneumonia. You might die from something else.
But there are sexually transmitted diseases that cause pain, right?
Well, I guess so, yeah. Like chlamydia and stuff. I think that one causes pain. But this one is worse because once your immune system's gone, anything can kill you at that point.
What about if you have like heart problems? Doesn't it affect it a lot worse?
I think something could get to your heart and cause it to fail faster, I think. Again, I'm not a scientist. I'm sorry I'm being kind of wishy-washy.
Well, I didn't know if it would affect it a lot more if you have like something wrong with it.
Here's the funny picture.
It could, yeah, you could die probably faster. All right, so if you go to the doctor and they give you an antibiotic, it means you have a bacterial infection. If they can't, it means you have a viral infection. Okay, so that's what I want you to. So it causes familiar diseases like the common cold, measles, and hepatitis. It requires a living host. It sits on your cell to multiply. Can't treat it with antibiotics. Vaccination can be a preventative measure. Okay, it's not going to cure it, but it can keep you from getting it if you get your vaccination. Okay, examples of viruses. Okay, before COVID. Okay, HBV. This one we need to be concerned about. This one we don't. Pretty much is how I'm going to say it. Okay, we do not need to be concerned with AIDS, HIV, because it only lives outside of the body for like seconds. Okay, so like I'd have to bleed and you'd have to be bleeding and I'd have to bleed onto your cut, and it would be a very be a scenario that probably wouldn't happen. Okay, because it has to go through body fluids. HBV, it affects the liver.
That's how you get HIV through sex.
You can get a vaccine for it. I think you guys are probably.
Yeah, I think we had to get that.
Yeah, I did too. And yeah, inoculation is often recommended for personal service workers. Okay, then HPV. This is the one that was on TV when you guys were little, and they give you a vaccination
Hey,
for
yeah,
it.
I got a shot for that too.
Right. Okay. Because you can get things like genital warts, plantar warts, cervical changes, and cervical cancer.
Isn't cervical cancer like?
Yeah, your private parts.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Is there a vaccination for HIV?
No.
Okay, I didn't think
there's
so.
no cure. There's no vaccination.
Okay, I didn't think so.
But.
So you can only get it by blood or sexually transmitted.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. There's certain things that we have to worry about, like hepatitis is bad because there's certain things that will live on. Like if I come over here and bleed, like you could come over a couple weeks later and have a cut and pick it up on certain things that live for a really long time.
Remind me never to do anything ever again.
Okay.
I'm not getting hepatitis.
But HIV, that's almost impossible. Like I said, we'd have to be like bleeding. Back in the old days, I don't know if you guys ever knew when people, like little kids would make a pact and they'd like cut themselves. Be like
a blood pact.
yeah, that would be really bad to do these days. Yeah. Wouldn't really want to do that.
These days, you know.
Okay, external parasites. External, they live on the outside of your body. They need a host. Okay? Parasitic fungi. Ringworm. Ringworm is not a worm. Ringworm is a plant that lives on you and it grows on you. Ringworm and honeycomb ringworm. It can also produce non-contagious conditions such as dandruff. Okay,
My
so
brother had ringworm real bad from wrestling. Oh my god, it is so gross. It
Well,
is nasty.
super contagious, super itchy. It's not fun to have.
I'm so glad he don't do wrestling no more. I was like, if you're yucky, get away
You
from me.
you can get this so easy, so easy.
Yeah.
So my husband got it, and the only thing the doctor could come up with was that we had stayed at a hotel like a month or two before that, and he said you literally could have gotten it off of like the sheets or the towels or something there.
I get it every year in the same spot.
Do you really?
Yeah, I have it right now in the same spot.
Oh my
every
gosh.
year it comes the same exact time every year.
That's crazy.
And it stays for a couple months and then it leaves.
No leaves. His was really, really difficult to get rid of.
Oh,
Now-
so was my little brother's.
Now another kind of parasite, okay, that's something that lives on you but doesn't give you any benefit. You're not getting anything out of it. Could be an insect such as head lice or
Oh, lice sucks so bad.
Never has that.
itch mites.
What
So
are fish mites?
if you have itch mites, it's little bugs that live on your body. It's basically, an easy way to say it is like body lice. They tunnel underneath your skin and they make red marks on you and they itch. I know of an outbreak of it. A little kid brought it into school at Somerset and all of the child care workers
Miss,
got
you
it.
stop.
Yeah, like all the students in that class got scabies. It is caused by the itch mites.
The nurses at school always thought I had lice.
The
Because
nurse
my
at
hair was
school
so
thought I
thick
had
and it would get like really bad dandruff.
All right, head lice is
Sucks.
Pediculosis
Pediculosis.
Stapler gave me head lice.
capitis. Okay.
I'm not kidding.
Now, getting head lice has nothing to do with if you're clean, dirty, anything. It just
No.
means you're around somebody, but it's icky.
It is so hard to get rid of, Miss G. I would get rid of it and then get it right back. I'm like, wow, this is
That's because you gotta you have to
clean your
wash
hair,
everything,
your whole room,
your
everything.
couches. You have to put plastic bags over it. It's ridiculous. Okay. So it's icky and it's on your head where you would wear a cap. Okay? And if we go back up here, Tinea capitis is ringworm. Tinea is the technical term. And capitis means, again, on my head. Tinea capitis. Okay? But again, it is not a worm. Okay? Prevent spread of contagions through proper disinfection procedures. We're going to be talking about that more. Okay, head lice. Transmitted from one person to another or through hats, combs, etc. You get scratching, redness, small bite marks, controlled by a pediculosis. Remember, that means killer. A killer of the Pediculosis capitis.
That shampoo. does not
Shampoo.
work on my hair.
All right. So you've got the little knit that attaches to the hair. If you're combing through someone's hair and you start getting freaked out because you see little white things, if you can go like that with your finger, it's just dry skin. If it's stuck to the hair and it looks like a pearl, it's a knit. Okay, it won't move and it looks kind of pearly. It's not flat white. Okay?
But if it looks kind of like clear and it's blended into your like hair, it's a dead one.
Oh, is it? Okay, I didn't know that.
I mean, sometimes with them, they like to go with your hair color so you can't see them. So like if you have like multiple hair colors like in your hair, you can pick them out easily.
Oh, wow. All right.
Bro, literally. Oh.
Okay, when you get an infection, you get disease-producing, again, pathogenic bacteria or viruses. They enter the body and multiply to the point of interfering with the body's normal state. You get a fever, a rash, whatever. Okay. Direct transmission of something is if you touch or exchange body fluids. This one is going to be on the test, I will tell you right now. So indirect transmission is it floats through the air onto you, or you come in contact with a contaminated object. So again, I bleed on this table, you come over and you touch the table. That's indirect. Okay, again, contagious infection is the same thing as communicable disease. Microorganisms, okay? We spread them to each other frequently, but they don't cause any infection unless they actually get into our body. Chapped hands is a problem. Cuts, those are a problem.
I get chapped feet. My heels get really dry.
Yeah, so if you, anything like that, any kind of opening in your body. Bloodborne pathogens carry through the blood or body fluids. Okay, so that's bloodborne. Common ways of spreading infection in the salon: open sores, unclean hands and implements, coughing or sneezing, sharing a cup and towels, use of the same implements on infected and non-infected areas, and unsanitary salon conditions. So it's our responsibility to make sure no one gets infected from anything in here, that we have it clean. Okay, 2 classes of infection: local. If you can say, Mrs. Godlup, look at the pimple on my arm. Look at the boil on my arm. Look at this red mark on my arm. That's a local infection. But you would never come in and say, Mrs. Godlup, look at the flu. Okay? That's a general infection. It's through my whole body. We can't point to the flu, right? So a local is something that we can point to. It's small in a confined area, has pus in a boil, pimple, or inflamed area. Generals through our whole body. We're sick. Okay, asymptomatic carrier. Anytime you see the letter A at the beginning of one of these words, you can see this clearly says symptoms there. It means the opposite. So this is someone who does not have symptoms, but is carrying the disease. They're getting people sick and they have no idea they even have it.
Or
Okay?
they do it and they do it on purpose. Do you think people do that?
Yes, I do.
That's terrible.
You read about that all the time. They know that they have something and they deliberately go out and infect other people. Yeah. Okay, universal precautions. We're just gonna conduct ourselves as if everybody in here has COVID, as if everyone in here has hepatitis. That way we don't have to say, oh, well, Mackenzie touched that, I better disinfect it, but it's okay if Becca, Paige, and Jalen touch it. No. We assume everyone has something and we treat everybody the same. That way it doesn't matter if they do or not, you're covered. Okay? Immunity. Ability to destroy infectious agents. So you've got active immunity. Antibodies produced after exposure to disease. Me, I had COVID. Now I'm immune because I have antibodies for a little bit of time. If you guys went and got vaccinated for COVID, okay, you have active immunity. Takes time to develop, doesn't happen right away. Long lasting, sometimes lifelong, not with COVID. It's going to be like the flu shot, you have to get it every year. Passive immunity, okay, you're giving the antibodies rather than produce. So the example is you got them from your mom when you were born. It's immediate, but it only lasts a few weeks or months. So babies get anything that the mom is immune to, the babies automatically get, but it's gone then pretty fast. That's why you have to take babies for shots then. Okay, is microbiology the study of living organisms called microbes? True or false?
True.
Okay, bacteria are one-celled microorganisms. True or false?
False.
True.
It's true.
It's true. Bacteria is just another name for microorganism. A disease that spreads from one person to another via contact is referred to as contagious or the other C word.
Contact?
Communicable. Spherical, meaning round, bacterial cells which appear singularly, I can't say that, or in groups, are known as? Uh-huh. Yep, I should say cockeye. I don't know the right way to say it. Rod-shaped bacterial cells that can produce a variety of diseases including tetanus and diphtheria are called?
I guess.
Yeah.
Cockeye?
You're close. Bacilli.
Oh, that's what okay.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. The 2 stages of bacterial growth are active and inactive. Submicroscopic particles, they're tinier than what you can see in the microscope, can cause familiar diseases like the common cold and are referred to as, is it a bacteria?
No.
It's what causes the common cold?
A virus.
A virus. Okay? An organism that lives on or obtains nutrients from another organism is called an external, starts with a P. P-A-R? It's a parasite.
Oh, I
A
understand that.
parasite. The practice of using the same infection control procedures with all clients is called what?
You just said it.
I just said it. Starts with a U. It means bigger than the world. Universal precautions. The body's ability to destroy infectious agents that enter the body is referred to as
Immune system?
immunity.
Immunity.
Good. We've reached the end of the document. Woohoo!
I gotta pee.